Hey, hey, hey. Okay, we're back for the third story of our Sound Relationship House and doing our Valentine's Day checkup. So, we have talked about the pillars of trust and commitment. We've talked about the first floor of knowing each other's love maps and worlds. We also have talked about fondness and admiration. The third story of the house is turning towards each other. So, I talk a lot when I'm in couples counseling about like turning in versus turning out. And so, a lot of times, what happens, I think early on in a relationship, we naturally kind of turn towards each other like it's our new best friend. We tell them everything. But somewhere along the way, we start to get used to each other and we possibly take things for granted, and no longer what's called making bids towards each other. So a bid can be big or little, but a bid is making a decision to try to connect with your partner. So an example I actually just heard the other day was, let's say you're sitting on the couch together and your partner just lets out a big sigh. In that moment, you have the decision to ignore it or reach out and say something like, "Everything okay? That was a big sigh. What's on your mind?" That's a bid. Now, that seems really kind of benign, right? But if you can imagine, the more we do that throughout the day, it's the more we're trying to connect with each other. And that connection is kind of what helps us have this longevity. So I want you to think about today for your challenge, your checkup. How often are you making bids towards your partner? These don't have to be big, humongous things, but sometimes maybe they are big, humongous things. But again, if you think about where we are in the house, that we know each other's world, we know what's going on, we have fondness and admiration for each other, and that we're going to turn towards each other. This is maybe even going to each other for advice. This I'm just going to say I've done this before. I hope my husband doesn't watch this, but you might already have in mind what you think you need to do. Maybe you have a big decision to make, or you think you already know what you want to do. You can even, making a bid would be even just getting your partner's input. Like, "Hey, I have this big decision at work. What do you think you would do?" Now, obviously, they don't know probably the whole story and they might not have all the information, but just giving them that opportunity to, so you're making a bid by asking, and then they're making a bid if they are kind of genuinely considering your question and giving you input. So it's a way to continue to connect to each other. What I've seen in a lot, this is actually one of the stories, one of the floors in the house that I see a lot of couples unraveling, is that somewhere along the way in the relationship, they just kind of quit going to each other. They started kind of going to their coworkers or their girlfriends or maybe even their family instead of coming to each other. They maybe started spending too much time with other people than their partner. And I mean quality time. I don't mean the time where you're bathing the kids and laying in bed watching TV before you fall asleep. Like, not that kind of time, but like quality time. Who do you go to when you maybe need advice or want help or need an opinion? I think at some point, oftentimes, we quit going to our partners. Now, that can be for lots of reasons. Maybe it's because they said that we were bothering them, and so we quit going because we don't want to be a bother. Or maybe it's because we didn't like their advice or we didn't maybe trust their opinion. Well, then that kind of goes back to fondness and admiration, right? You have to go back a level and look at it. But I just want you to think about, has there been a time or has it been a bunch of little gradual things? Remember, we teach people how to treat us. If we're feeling disrespected in the relationship or ignored in the relationship or not valued in the relationship, we're letting our partner treat us that way. Because when that happened and we didn't say something, subconsciously or maybe consciously, they said, oh, she didn't say anything. I guess it's okay if I keep doing this behavior, right? So if you're feeling that way, you need to say something and have a conversation about how you want it to be different. Where was I going with all that? But I think somewhere along the way, I want you to think about, did one thing happen or did a bunch of little things happen that you quit turning towards your partner and you started turning away from your partner? If you can really start to intentionally, and is it going to feel over exaggerated at first if this is one of your problem floors? Yes. Is it still important to do? Yes. Every little opportunity you have to make a bid towards your partner, do it. See how they respond. And again, we've talked about, like, maybe your partner isn't doing this challenge with you, and that's okay. Check in with that. How often are you calling a girlfriend first? Are you calling your dad first? Are you talking to a coworker first before you're talking to your partner about whatever it is that you have going on? So I hope that makes sense. That was the third level of our sound house. We're doing a relationship checkup, and that was turning towards, and we talked about kind of making bids. Again, this is all from the Gottmans, Julie and John. They have a great website, a great institute. I'll be posting more information at the end of this whole series, but I just wanted to put it out there so that y'all know where I'm getting all this from. So, all right. Thanks so much. Tune in tomorrow for the next level, which will be positive perspective.